Hello and welcome back to our spacious and comfortable shack on Venus here. This is the little base that we built in the last episode. You may not think it's so spacious, but you could play through this in a 1x2 shelter. It's doable, but it's really, really tight. This is a lot more comfortable, trust me. We got our water set up in the last episode, and the water um, gives us a way to deal with our thirst. And if we went and got the food off the lander, we would actually be able to survive in this base for quite a long time. We could drink the water, we could eat the food, we've got air in here, and it's actually a cool environment. It's only 33 degrees. The water in that tank is 20 degrees, and it's actually a large amount of thermal mass. So the air in here would actually be regulated pretty well. The problem is that we're eventually going to run out of water. We're eventually going to run out of food. We're eventually going to run out of air. Probably not for a long time though. And eventually this place will heat up. These pipes up here, as part of the airlock, will eventually bleed heat in here. Also the electronics that are in here, like the battery chargers and so on, they're going to add a bunch of heat. So we do have to go outside. Now every time we go outside, our air conditioner has to take some of our air from our suit and heat it up and put it in the waste tank. But that waste tank contains so much oxygen, we can either throw it away and waste oxygen and run out of oxygen sooner, or we could bring it back into the base and we're going to heat the base up quicker. So that's our problem. Every time we go out, we're shortening the amount of time we have left. We're going to start building some things here. We need an active vent to deal with our outside pipe air pressure on our airlock. I mentioned that in the last episode. And we're going to get some lockers here because we need to get the stuff off the lander too. And here we are. We're going to release the pressure in here. We built our ice crusher. So what we need the ice crusher for is, with an ice crusher, not only can we solve our water problem, but we can actually solve a bit of the cooling problem, because when we bring ice inside, it's actually going to cool down the inside of our base. By the way, when you attach that active vent or the passive vent, make sure you get out of the way. That's a little bit like a bomb going off, and if you're standing right in front of it, it's going to blow you back 10 meters. If you want to stand in front of it, make sure you have some duct tape handy. Now we're going to need some more materials, quite a bit of iron. Might as well pick up some coal just for smelting, getting some power. Talking about the water, or the ice crusher again. The ice crusher is going to give us not just colder water, because when we crush the ice, it's going to cool down our water tank. And it's going to add some water into the water tank so that we can drink it. But it's also going to have a gas output, because the water ice is 20% nitrogen. And so it's going to go into a pipe, the pipe that we were building earlier, and that's actually going to be inside, and it's going to help cool down the base. And that's how we're going to extend our time a little bit. Let's go back here and smelt some of this ore. And since it's nighttime and we don't have any solar power, let's get some coal in the furnace. Now we have a list of things we need to make here. Cable coil, so we can hook up the ice crusher. And for a little bit of quality of life, we want to build some canisters. So we run out of our waste tanks pretty quickly. But we can just make more canisters that we can swap, and then we can stay outside longer. Might need some more pipes, so let's just start them building. Got some cable coils going there. Our suit is really interesting. I was doing some experiments and trying to figure out how it does the cooling. So if you're on a cool planet like Mars, it seems to probably just use electricity to heat up your suit. But if it's on a hot planet, it needs to act like a heat pump and pump the heat somewhere, and it wants to pump it into your waste tank. And the problem is that it probably has a temperature differential just like a wall cooler and so on. And with the temperature differential, there's a limit to how much heat it can pump in there unless it puts more cool gas, and it's getting that cool gas from your air. So I wondered, is it actually getting it from the air tank and bypassing your suit? But it's not. It's actually taking the air directly out of your suit to put it in the waste tank. Because if you turn the air off in your suit and you stop the air from going to the air tank into the suit, it'll still drain out your suit quite quickly.
Waste tank, caution.
There, we just got the alarm on the waste tank, so we swapped it out and we can stay out here longer. As you saw, we put some lockers down and we're going to get all of the stuff off the lander. Eventually a storm's going to hit. You do get a grace period, but you need to get everything off there so that the lander doesn't disintegrate in a storm. I'm going to drop some stuff off in here so we don't have to carry it around.
Hydration critical.
Let's do our last little bit here. It's not a bad idea to take these crates off as well and just store them away. They might be useful later, and if not, you can sell them to the trader. I'm not going to do that right now, though. You got to keep your eye on the goal, and the goal right now is getting that ice crusher built. Fire extinguisher. That's a nice joke. I was actually on fire one time in Vulcan and tried to use the fire extinguisher. It really didn't help. But we can sell it. I'm going to make a couple more lockers now that we've made some more iron. And just because I want somewhere to store the stuff inside. We still have the food over there on the lander, and I'd like to take the food inside. It's the only place we can really open the visor to eat it anyways. So our water and our food, that's all in there. Good corn soup. Yeah, let's just take this over and stack it in the airlock for now, and go back and get the rest. Pick up these two lockers to take inside with us. The cereal bar, let's just check the crates again, make sure we got everything. We did. Good. Eventually get this airlock hooked up, but for right now let's just do it manually. We're on the clock and the temperature is rising. We also need to get in there and take a drink. We're back down to 0 thirst again. There we go. Home sweet home. Visor, take a drink first. That'll get our health going back up. Now this third little room over here is where we eventually intend to make a little greenhouse of sorts, but whatever, it's the food area, so we're gonna store all the food over in here. Food is a problem we can't resolve very quickly. We're going to have to get trading set up, obviously, to get seeds or to just buy some food. I'd prefer to grow it myself. But the problem is that then you need a greenhouse. And I've actually tried doing a greenhouse with just before you get to steel and batteries and all that, and it really is difficult. I mean, I've grown some potatoes, but there was a lot of coal involved trying to get the temperature inside a 1x1 greenhouse cool enough to be able to actually grow some potatoes, and you're just trying to cool it constantly, so it's really not worth it. So the right order to do everything in is get your environment here set up, and then you're going to have to work on trading to get seeds, but also you're going to want some steel. So we're going to have to do an actual furnace. But you'll notice I'm not really rushing steel. I don't want to do that before I have to.
Air tank critical.
But steel really helps when you can make insulated pipes. You can solve a lot of these heat leakage issues that we have.
Waste tank critical.
And what I'm doing here is just putting the waste tank on the floor over in this area by the water tank, because it's going to cool down. I don't want to reintroduce it to the air supply until we have to. If it can cool down first, then we won't heat up our air tank there. Oh, wrong button. Now, unfortunately, to build the water crusher there, I forgot something. You have to get an iron sheet. I should have made that while I was outside. So here we go again, going back outside. Remember, we want to keep our batteries charged, so if you're just going to hang around your base, you might as well swap out for a small battery and let your big battery charge up. I made an extra one there because if you remember last episode, we forgot to weld in that last piece. We didn't forget, we just needed that last iron sheet for the hydraulic pipe bender. So we're going to go back in here and we're going to finish off this ice crusher. Watching the temperature, of course, all the time inside. We're up in the 30s and it's creeping up again. It says 35, but it's probably a little bit cooler inside. That pipe heats up by being exposed to the airlock while it's open to the outside environment. There it is. So 30, well, still 35. Okay, almost finished. Got a little cable in there. Good. It's hooked up, it's working. We're all ready to crush some ice. We just don't have ice. Get ourselves ready to go back outside again. It's still daylight. It's much better to hunt for ice in the daylight. There isn't a lot of ice on Venus. I mean, there's a lot there, but it's not as common as the other ores, and you really do have to hunt for it a bit. 72%, not too bad. It should stand out. It's quite bright white and smooth and shiny. Of course, all the silicon Kind of distracts you though, doesn't it? Yeah, silicone there. Not having any luck. Sometimes you walk outside your front base and there's all the ice. If you really want to cool yourself down inside your base, if you're really stuck, you could actually take some volatiles, because there is volatiles around here too. Sometimes it's more common. Put that in the ice crusher, and you're going to fill up that yellow pipe inside with cold volatiles. That will keep you cool. But you are living dangerously if you do that. I mean, you got an oxygen environment in there. If you happen to slip up and drop a little bit inside, and it's 33 degrees, you're right on the edge of ignition temperature, you're going to have a hard time. You don't have a way to vacuum that all out. Probably just going to turn into a big crater in the ground. But you could do it. What I'm doing here is I went away from the base at about a 90 degree or 0 degree angle, whatever it was. And just decided to keep going in a straight line. If you remember what that angle is, then you can kind of go arbitrarily far away from the base, and you just have to remember to go 180 degrees opposite of that when you go back. Then you don't need a GPS or a tracker card or anything like that with you. But remember, eventually we're going to have a storm, and we don't want to get caught too far away from the storm, because then we're going to have to walk back. You can't fly back in the storm. There's quite a bit of ice here. I want to get about 2 stacks. That'll let us get our pressure back up in our tank, and it's a significant amount of cool gases and so on we're going to have. Here we go. About 2 stacks. That's good. Okay. So we were going away at 0 degrees. I'm going back at 180 degrees there on the compass, you can see. And there's the lander. There's copper over here. Might as well pick it up. I don't want to just chase copper around the landscape. And if we're going inside at night, I like to throw a little bit of fuel in the furnace. Swap out our battery while we're here. It's getting pretty low. Charge up our tools. And we'll finish cycling the airlock. There we go. Okay. It's time to crush some ice. Let's get out the tablet here and see what's going on. So we start at 20 degrees. And look, it's putting some cold water in there. Temperature's going down in the tank. Temperature's going way down in the pipe. We got 10 degrees in the pipe there, in the water pipe. We got 10 degrees in the tank. It doesn't seem to put all the ice out of the ice crusher. I'm not really sure how that works. Let's throw the other stack in there that we've got. Yeah, nice and cold. And if you watch the temperature of our environment there, 36, 35, it's going back down. And that's what we want. That's going to help cool down our waste tank that we just brought in and put down there on the floor. Yep, that's good. And then this tank won't overheat.
Air tank critical.
For oxygen, and we're good to go. Mission accomplished. Yep, that's it for now.